Well, boys, there were some goals this weekend. Somebody had 6. Let's get into this. This is Red Card Radio. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever you're listening from. Thanks for tuning in. Red Card Radio is a weekly look at the Premier League from 3 friends who support different clubs. My name's James. I support Arsenal. With me tonight is Brad. He supports Chelsea. Down below is Sean. He supports Tottenham. Good day, good evening, hello. How are you guys?
Well,
I'm pretty good. I've got a lot to be glad for. But I bet Brad is 6 to his stomach.
I'm actually successful tonight. Feeling very successful tonight.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Both of those were awful. all 2 of them were awful. Yeah, so welcome to Red Card.
Too awful, you mean? You mean they were too awful?
Welcome to Red Card Radio, where Brad and Sean make terrible puns, and I just shake my head for 45 minutes. Please, actually not 45. If this podcast is 45 minutes, I apologize to you now. But you should hit that subscribe button, ring the sub notification bell if you are on YouTube. Drop a comment down below. Let us know what you think. If you're on one of the podcast sites, follow, 5-star review, whatever your platform so allows, definitely does help us out. And that share button, putting it on social media for us, sending it to people personally, those things really do help us out tremendously. So what we've got on offer for you in this episode, this is another 2-for week. We've got our review of match week 2 right now. That's what you're listening to. Later down the line this week, you will get a preview of match week 3. But tonight, or today, whenever you're listening, we'll break down match week 2. We will also give you an update on the picks that us and the community have made thus far. We'll see who did well in match week 2. We'll see who did poorly, and we will have an update on the overall standing. So, boys, let's get into it. Where do you want to start, Brad?
I think Sean. I think you need to hold somebody here accountable to their beliefs.
I will.
About some Albions and some Red Devils.
I will do that. However, I think he picked a draw, so he's wrong by default. But it was closer. It was closer to being right than it was wrong. I was just checking the score to make sure that score was right because I thought it was 2-0. So 2-1 Brighton. As our resident United apologist and closest thing we have as a podcast to being a fan of United, what say you about this game?
I would ask you, sir, to retract that statement. You may be hearing from my
I just said you're the
solicitors. Closest. But no, I believe if we were to rewind the tape and if we were a better podcast, we would insert a splice here of my statement from the last episode talking about this game.
We're not talking about the last episode. We're talking about the last year and a half.
If we were a better podcast.
That you have been saying United is good.
I don't think I've said that like United are the best team in the league. I think I've said that they are better than you guys give them credit for. Losing to Brighton at home is not like a slight against them. Like, they're better than you guys give them credit for. They're more dangerous than you guys give them credit for. I want you to keep the same energy when they slap you at Old Trafford, Sean. Like
they're not going to.
Okay, well, if they do, keep the same energy. What's going on with them? They have a few injuries already this season. They're missing Luke Shaw. They haven't got to lift up to speed yet, so Harry Maguire is playing more. They have a trash can goalkeeper, which is obviously a big issue. But they have threats going forward. I don't think they have the best threats going forward, but they have competent players in the midfield. They have competent players on attack. And so, like, I don't see how you guys want to sit here and act like they're a step above Brentford. Like, they're a much better team than Brentford. They're a formidable team that will give people problems this year. Will give teams trouble this year. And I'm just making that aware. That's all I'm doing. I'm saying that they have good players and that they will beat good teams this year. That's all I'm saying.
I think
Harry Maguire still starts on defense for them
because De Ligt is not up to speed yet, bro. De Ligt has not gotten integrated into the United team. After the international break, De Ligt starts every game for United.
All right, so let me ask you this.
Ask away.
How much? So, say you are the United fan that you are. As a fan, how much confidence do you have in a player that is not up to speed under a manager that he used to play for?
Okay, he used to play for him like 7 years ago. Is like he went?
So
his
strategy has changed that much. Ten Hag has changed his ways in so many different ways that De Ligt has no idea how to play center back under him, and there's no way we can start him because that's crazy talk.
I would never purport to understand the inner workings of the Dutch league or the Ukrainian league or the Kazakh league. I am just telling you the facts on the paper are that Harry Maguire had a full preseason with Lisandro Martinez, and they did a full preseason together, and insofar as Martinez was there, and that's why they're starting together right now. And yes, De Ligt did not have a full preseason at United. He was a late transfer, essentially came in the last week before the season started. So yeah, it takes some time to get acclimated. He might not have a house in Manchester United. He might be living in a hotel. His family might not be over yet. He might have a lot of like life stuff going on that hasn't allowed him to settle and fully focus on football yet. But I believe, and I think you guys would all agree as well, even if you are a good footballer, which De Ligt is, it takes you time to settle places.
Sure, but at the same exact time, there was another defensive transfer from the same exact team from Bayern, Mazraoui, who's already starting.
That might be
now you're wasting
more necessity. Like, I think that there's more urgent need to have him at right back, is my point.
I also don't understand, like, why would you waste a sub?
Is he playing on the left?
Why would you waste? Why would you waste a sub on a defender in a game that's not an injury? Because he's done that 2 weeks in a row. I just have a question like that. Like, I wouldn't want to waste that sub.
You are also purporting, to use your word,
wow,
that De Ligt is a good defender, and
sure.
I would purport that he is not.
Okay, you went a little too far there, Sean. I think I'm
defend your claim.
The last time that Lisandro Martinez and De Ligt played together, they gave up a hat trick to Lucas Moura in the semifinal of a Champions League to lose said Champions League, including 2 extra time goals. What kind of defensive pairing is that? Mind you, they have the same manager and the same goalkeeper on the field at the same time.
Well, in the interim, Lisandro Martinez has gone on to win a Copa America, win a World Cup. I think he won another Copa America.
Okay.
So like it's been 7 years
Brad,
since that
just
happened.
Because he was on the same team as a team that won something doesn't mean he was an integral part of it.
Bro, look it up. I'm fairly certain that Martinez plays a fairly good amount for Argentina. De Ligt, they're more mature now. They've played like. Do you think that Juventus would have gone in for De Ligt and paid the money they paid to Ajax for him? Do you think that Bayern Munich would have paid the money that they paid to Juventus for De Ligt? Like,
to be fair, they paid almost half of what Juventus paid. So
what do you mean?
Juventus paid a pretty penny.
Juventus paid like 65 or 70 million for him, and I think Bayern Munich paid essentially the same amount for him, 50. And then United paid less.
50-ish. Yeah, so why do you think his transfer fee is going down, if you had to guess?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's terrible.
I'll give you multiple.
I guess he's awful.
Give you multiple choices if you want.
I think that's awful. The manager's selection.
All right.
He wasn't part of the manager's plans, but I think we've sat on too long for Brighton actually to get some credit here. Brighton played really well. The last minute goal was very nicely played. Nobody shock defending. Wide open João Pedro header to win the game in the 95th minute. I think that's the 6th time that Ten Hag has lost in the after 90 minutes. Where before that, I think it's United has only lost 2 times in Fergie time. So the Fergie curse is done for.
I think I slept a little bit on Brighton this year. I think
we all did.
I thought that they would have a little bit of a harder time, new manager, very young manager, getting settled and like really acclimating. So
he's a very young American manager, yes. That's taking Brighton to the top. I think he won both matches so far, so
yeah, they're second presently.
My only question on the Brighton side is Evan Ferguson injured?
Yes.
Why isn't he featured?
Okay,
he's been injured.
I think he's got a
I thought it had to be. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
They wanted $100 million for him, and he didn't start every game last year. It must be injury. That's what I was figuring is.
Yeah.
If you want $100 million for somebody and you don't play them every game, then you're either bluffing or something's wrong. Yeah.
Yep.
They're either not worth $100 million or you're hiding something.
Yeah.
They're injured or whatever the case may be.
All right, James, we made you talk way too much about United. Sean.
Yeah.
Talk to me about this 6-pointer. Spurs versus Everton.
The relegation 6-pointer?
Relegation 6-pointer.
I won't spend too much time here. It was, we talked about last week about how Tottenham, my impressions off week 1 were that Tottenham had the same problem as last year. Is that we dominated a game, couldn't put it away. It just sucked. When you're in control, you got 70% possession, and you're getting shots. It's not like you're not getting shots. There's 17 shots, 10 on target, and you tied 1-1. It's frustrating because it's not like the possession is wasted. You're getting the shots, and you're getting the shots on target. You're just not scoring them. That's frustrating.
Yeah.
But this one, all the shots seem to go in, right? Like not all of them clearly, but I messaged you guys in the chat, and I said 5 minutes in, I said this is going to be 5-0. Like Everton look uninterested, and the Spurs tails are up. They're gonna bang these goals in, even without Solanke. And I also mentioned Solanke's picked up an injury. He's going to be out maybe just a week. They might give him over the international break just an extra. They might set him out one more week just to give him the 4 weeks to recover. He picked up a turned ankle in the first week. So
all right.
But he got 3 or 4 shots on goal the first week. I don't think that's disappearing. So I have no worries about Solanke so far. Go ahead with your question.
I have 2 questions. Who is this Wilson Odegaard? And
oh man,
and hold
10
on.
minutes in.
Can
I answer that one? Okay. Is it a 2-parter?
I'm gonna ask both because
it's a twofer. It's a twofer.
It's a twofer because I'm confused.
Okay.
Who is Wilson Odegaard? And why is Richarlison not starting your 60 million pigeon?
65.
Because they're both the forwards.
65. All right. Great question. Wilson Odegaard was incredible on the wing. I actually think if Solanke can't go, it should be Son in the middle every game. That was the kid. He's 19. We bought him from Burnley. He did okay last year, but he showed flashes of what he was doing Saturday, and he's still got some problems. I mean, that right back for Everton, they got one. I think I messaged you guys about him. I'm forgetting his name. I'll need to look at it, but that Dixon, that kid is good. And he was like 18, 17 years old or something like that. He's not going to be on Everton long. I can tell you that. So Odegaard got dispossessed a fair amount of times, and Dixon was keeping with his pace too. But he was electric over there, man. I really enjoyed watching him play. And I see why he got the start. Richarlison is coming off an injury right now.
Again?
So in theory, it would have been. He's still battling. He's still battling the same injury. It's soft tissue stuff. It's coming off the.
That's tough.
Coming off the summer, yeah. So it's nothing structural. It's just soft tissue stuff that you get to a point that you think you can go, and then you go, and then it tweaks, and then you got to dial it back down. It's one of those situations. But he's been coming off the bench. They're giving him short spells. It's just not starting. But yeah, Odebear, I'm thoroughly impressed after it took me 10 minutes to be like, whoa. It's kind of one of those guys that pops off the screen that you're like, oh, who's it? It's kind of like the first time I saw Gabby Martinelli. Honestly, I remember watching him the first time. I'm like, who the F is this guy?
Well, let me ask you a question before we move on to talk about Gabby Martinelli.
Yeah.
You said that Everton looked disinterested, and now you said that this kid is really good. Are you going to reserve a little bit of judgment for when you get stuck in against another team and see how he fares against somebody who is a little bit more give a crap?
So that text message was 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
Maybe we caught Everton off guard. Maybe they weren't expecting. I don't know why, because this has been our MO for a year and 2 games now. But maybe we caught him off guard. But they did come around to the game. I mean, they were giving it to us a little bit in the second half, honestly. There was a couple of times where I thought they might have scored. They didn't have a shot until the second. They didn't have a shot until the second half. Then they had a couple of on target. I mean, Vicario had to make. There was 3 or 4 saves that Vicario had to make.
Yeah,
and was able to. But Odebear was active on the defensive end as well. So that's also encouraging that he's willing to track back and willing to do his job defensively as this system requires. So I don't have. Well, first, so that's to answer your first question. But secondly, he's not going to start regularly unless Solanke is out.
That's fair.
So he is the replacement for Son when Son is not playing the left wing. Which is also why we loaned out Solomon to Leeds, because that was the replacement. But then Odebear must have impressed so much in practice that here we are.
Okay,
I've mouthed off enough. I enjoyed it. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Well, speaking of Gabby Martinelli, no, let's turn our attention just quickly to Villa Arsenal, because adroit followers of the Premier League will know that had Arsenal beaten Villa just one time last year, they would have won the league. Yeah, they only needed to beat Villa once, and they would have won the league. And you lose at Villa Park, that's fine, but you lose at the Emirates to Villa, that's unforgivable. But so this was a tough game going in. I actually thought I'm normally very pessimistic with my choices and about Arsenal's and the picks. I legitimately picked Villa because I thought Villa would beat us. I legitimately thought that Villa would beat us. And to be fair, Villa should have beat us. We should have lost the game. And the reason why we should have lost the game is that Ollie Watkins missed a sitter in the first half. Where we gave possession away sloppily in our own half, and the ball quickly comes to Ollie Watkins, and he just puts it wide. He doesn't even test Raya. And so there's that one. And so Villa should be 1-up at halftime. And then 10 or 15 minutes into the second half, there's the other one where Raya makes that amazing save, where the Villa player shoots from the outside of the box. It gets deflected by Gabriel. It loops over Raya's head. He jumps behind him to try and save it. He misses it. It bounces off the crossbar. It comes back in, and Ollie Watkins is alone. Raya is sitting on his butt in his goal, and Ollie Watkins has a header from 6 yards out, and somehow he heads it right at Raya as Raya is scrambling up, and Raya is able to palm it away. And so Villa absolutely should have been 2-up on us, and they weren't. And then a couple minutes later, super sub Leandro Trossard, the best Leo in the entire world, comes on for Gabriel Martinelli, who had a fairly quiet game, and with essentially his first touch of the ball, he scores a goal. And then Arsenal legend Emi Martinez does a really poor job of keeping out Thomas Partey's shot, and it's 2-0, and we win the game. And I think that's honestly, it's the second week of the season, and maybe Arsenal crap the bed in January, and it doesn't matter. But that could be a massive massive 3 points, because I think Villa at Villa Park this year will be incredibly, incredibly difficult for a lot of teams, because they are very good. They're just as good this year as they were last year.
Well, and I think it's interesting with how like they're played. I wonder how tired Europe is going to make them. And I think this was Villa's best chance of being that upset on our, not necessarily upset, but like levels with Arsenal. Because Arsenal's used to playing in Europe. Arsenal's used to that heavy schedule. I don't know if Villa is.
No, they're not. I mean, they are from last year, but like Saka's not used to playing in Europe. He did it for the first time last year.
What are you talking about?
Oh,
we were in
the Champions League.
We were in the Europa League for 2 years before the Champions League last year, bro.
Yeah,
and the Europa League is arguably more arduous because you have to fly to Kazakhstan and you play on Thursday night, so it's Thursday, Sunday every week. So like, you just
he just wanted to troll there. That's okay.
I mean, when was the last time his club was in the Champions League?
Ooh,
how many years has it been? Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that I think that's a good point, Brad. And on top of that, the Champions League is different this year. So instead of 6 group stage games, there's 8 group stage games. So that's another 2 high intensity group stage games.
Is it 8 or 10?
Shoot, I think it's 8. But if it's 10, that's wild.
And hold on,
it's 8. It's 8 round robins.
Yeah. I think it's 8. We're gonna keep going as if it's 8, and if we're wrong, Brad will interrupt us.
Yeah.
I
will.
And so, go for it, Sean.
I was gonna switch gears. So if you got more on Arsenal, keep going.
No, I think that Villa is good. I think that it's a good point to bring up that they haven't started playing in Europe yet. They don't have any other competition, so they only had a week. They had a whole week to prepare. But I do think that Villa will take points off the big boys this year, at home specifically.
Speaking of taking points off of, go ahead.
If you're not in the top 8, it becomes 10 games.
Yeah, because you have a play-in
originally
round.
8 games, and then there's a playoff, so it could be 10 games in the first round.
Well, it's only 10 games if you are 9 to 16.
Correct.
If you're 17 to 24, 17 to 24, you're eliminated, right?
No, 9 to 24 is the knockout.
Oh, it is 20.
36 teams.
25 to 36.
You guys are saying the same thing.
Yep.
You guys are saying the same thing. Yes.
Not quite.
17 to 24 is Dunskies.
No.
And Brad, you are also right.
You're wrong.
No,
9 through 24 are in. 25 through 36 are out.
Yeah, there's 36 teams in the Champions League this year.
On the Champions League website.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
Anyway, so speaking of not taking points off the big boys, Bournemouth at the Vitality. That I'm just going to touch on it briefly. That was a little surprising result there from Bournemouth without Solanke, and Newcastle dropping points there. It was a little disappointing.
I mean, I'll be honest. I think that Bournemouth have a legitimate claim to be upset. Joel Linton should have absolutely seen red for his arm bar, clothesline, whatever you want to call it, on the Bournemouth keeper. The fact that VAR doesn't have the balls to look at that and say, you need to go look at that because that's violent conduct. What is violent conduct? What is violent conduct if that's not violent conduct? And
it's a rule that allows Manchester to get unfair advantages.
Like, I know
United and City.
You might, like loyal listeners of the podcast who happen to be Newcastle supporters, Joel, might listen to this and be like, well, James just has beef with Joel Linton from last year and the push. But like, I think anyone with eyes should look at that and say, that was violent conduct. That deserved at least a second view from the ref. I would be much happier, even if the ref went to the monitor, looked at it, and was like, no, I think I'm fine. I don't think it's a red card. I would think that the referee is crazy. But that absolutely, Newcastle should have been down to 10 men.
Yep.
For the second week in a row. Yep. And then there was the handball debacle at the end of the game where, the Bournemouth manager is upset at the call, and it was deemed to be a factual handball by VAR, and the referee didn't even go to look at it on the monitor, and VAR just called it a handball, and they move on with the game. There's no second look. I don't know. It just, I think Bournemouth really showed a lot there.
Did we check the Twitter feed where they're supposed to where they're supposed to explain all of their VAR results? Wasn't that supposed to be a thing this year that they're supposed to tweet out all of their responses?
Yeah, it's on there. I'm sure it's on there.
It just says it's a handball, probably.
Yeah, it would say VAR has decided it's a factual handball. I'm sure that's the exact verbiage. Quickly,
Brad,
we need to touch. We got to touch on these goal fests. We got to touch these goal fests.
We got to give you your moment in the sun here,
bro. This was
there's a hat trick, and it's not Palmer from the penalty spot. So I got to give you your space here.
Hey, he did have a hat trick of assists. Fantastic game. And if that's how we're gonna play on offense, then like I said this last week when we played City, I'm all in on Maresca ball. Like that ball is moving, it was fast, and I know we make jokes about Chelsea's transfer policy, but how nice is it to have Neto coming off the bench, João Felix coming off the bench, and Cuckoo coming off of the bench.
I don't
close out the game to see out the game. It's a very, very nice feeling. Madueke, I think he actually now kind of likes Wolverhampton. I think he thinks it's a beautiful city now. Not a crap hole.
Did he call it a crap hole last year?
No, the day before he accidentally posted on his professional Instagram. There's nothing good about this place, and like had Wolverhampton in it. And so that's why, and I sent it to you guys because I was like, oh no, if we lose, like Wolves are gonna have so much fun with this. But then the Chelsea account was like, I think he's starting to warm up to this place when he scored his hat trick. So there's the little inside ball if y'all didn't see that part. But yeah, Madueke balled out. That João Felix goal was awesome. I don't know if you guys saw it. It like passing up the field. Neto hits a break from like our box and just keeps running straight into that hole for an awesome pass from Enzo that then he was able to cross back from the left wing into the middle of the box to João Felix for João to score on his debut.
I have more of like a
debut.
Second debut. Yeah.
I have kind of a general query about your emotions and feelings towards Chelsea real quick. Okay.
Right. But we got to answer this. Yes, that was João Felix's debut this season. He was on loan 2 years ago. So I'm correct in calling it a debut.
He's already played for the club. It's not his club debut. It's not a debut.
This is a pedantic argument.
Anyways,
get in the comments below if you think that João Felix made a debut for Chelsea this weekend in the Premier League. My general question is: you guys lost to City match week 1, expected, yes. Totally expected.
We played really, really well. Hold on, we also have to add in that we played really, really well. Even Sean said that Chelsea played really, really well, matched City. We didn't have
Sean was
magical moments, but
Sean was a Chelsea apologist last week.
And we missed on a handball and all that other stuff. Like there were legitimate penalties that should have been given.
I fully admit Chelsea definitely played really well when they let Kovacic just run 40 yards and score a goal. That's true.
Yeah, 100%.
So you expectedly lost to City last week. You expectedly beat Wolves this week because that's what Chelsea should be, beating Wolves. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you've had a good chance to get a read on this team against an evenly matched opponent? Who do you think are your evenly matched opponents this year in the Premier League?
Oh, yes, I do. When we watch the City game.
Okay, so you think that this Chelsea team,
we're a top 4, top 6 team. Yes, I think we're a top 4 team.
Would you concede that there's a difference between top 4 and top 2 in the Premier League? That Arsenal and Chelsea and City are a cut above the rest?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not that close. Do I think that we can play with you guys, and do I think we can take points off of you? Yes. But over the course of the season, I would admit that I do think City and Arsenal will have a better chance at winning it all.
So you're still bullish on Chelsea?
Yes. Why would I not be? Based on the past in these 2 weeks.
Let you have your floor. I want to take a slight umbrage. Cole Palmer goal upon second look. It is clever. It is clever. It is not a worldie.
Oh.
Jose Sa decided to lose his mind and is so far out of position. He was so far out of position. It's like he committed to going out for it and then was like, "Oh no, I need to get back," and he was just in no man's land.
Well, also,
but it is clever and well executed.
It is a
I'm
very
not saying
good
it's a
goal.
bad goal. It is a very good goal. It's not a worldie.
I think the assist was better than the goal. I will say it this way. I still think it's up there. I think the assist was better than the goal. Nico's control and just in getting it to him. Also, he hit it on the loft. So that's it was a lofted chip. It was on the volley. It was a volleyed chip over Sa. Even though if he's off his line, still made it into the goal. So I'm gonna push back on you and say that was a great goal and it was a great assist.
Should we quickly update the people on the picks?
Yeah, let's hit these picks really quickly.
All right. So in match week 2, a very strong match week from everybody, if we're being completely honest. We had essentially 5 people get a good number of picks right. We had a first submission of the year from Chap. He wins this weekend. He had 8 correct picks. Close behind in second, tied for second, is Brad, Sean, Joel, and Jimmy with 7 correct as well. Tamzid had 5. I had 4. So bad week from us in that regard. So shout out Chap for getting the most picks this week. And that brings the totals. So we've got a tie for first through match week 2. Having collected 15 out of a potential 20 correct picks is Sean and Jimmy. So Sean and Jimmy are currently tied for first. Brad is in third, and then Joel and I are tied for fourth. So,
when we're talking picks and I'm in first, I need you to call me by my actual picking name of Sean Stradamus. Sean got picks. If you want to get in on this action, you got to join our Discord. It's in the description of this video, whether you're on YouTube or you're on the podcast. We've got a preview our picks channel where we submit our picks every Friday before the games kick off. If you're a little late, we'll let it slide. We're not too serious about it. But we're keeping that spreadsheet tabulated throughout the year so that we can quickly do it and not have to do it on the last weekend altogether. So you should do that. We will do our picks all in the Discord after our next episode, which will be a preview of the match week 3 coming up, the last set of games before the international break. Check that out later this week. Hit us up on social media. That guy up top, he's at KSBradG. Down below, it's at Whiteheart_Sean. I am at James Tiffany. Collectively, we can be reached at redcard_radio. That's on all the socials. info.redcardradio@gmail.com if you need to reach us. Buffalo Wild Wings, we're still waiting. We're still waiting. And we'll check back later this week. We've got a preview for you and looking forward to it. I hope you guys have a lovely day.